All right, hello, and welcome to episode 10 of our podcast series, Introducing New Artists, Conversations with Visual Arts Majors at UCSD. I'm Professor Amy Adler, faculty member in the Visual Arts Department. In this series, I'm speaking with studio art honors students about their artistic evolution, their creative processes, and the unique challenges facing emerging artists today. I'm particularly interested in understanding how our students navigate the complexities of developing their artistic voices while preparing to launch their careers in an ever-changing professional, political, and personal landscape. And today, I'm joined by Julia Bushman, a senior in our honors program whose multimedia practice combines painting and textiles to explore cultural displacement and childhood nostalgia. Through traditional Japanese sashiko mending techniques and repurposed materials, Julia creates layered works that address her experience as a Japanese American from a military family navigating between two cultures. I'm also joined by 12 other students from the Studio Honors Class of 2025. Hello!
Hi!
We're excited to learn more about Julia's artistic evolution during her time at UCSD and hear her perspective on what it means to be an emerging artist in 2025. So let's begin our conversation. Greetings, Julia.
Hi!
Hi. Could you start by introducing yourself to our listeners?
So my name is Julia Mahiro Bushman. I'm 22 years old, and I am a senior at UCSD with a studio major and art history minor. I'm graduating this quarter.
Wow. Let's hear a little bit about yourself, about where you're from and what drew you to study art, and what were some key experiences or turning points that led you all the way here to being a senior in the Honors Studio Art program.
So I'm from a military family, so we moved around quite a bit growing up, like every 2 to 4 years, I would say. So I would say that influenced me a lot just because it's kind of hard to find a community if you're moving around so much. But I think that's what drew me to art, because I first came here as a comp sci major, and there was like no sense of community in there. Like the major was like so big, and there was no interaction with anybody. So I took my first art class here. I think either my second or third quarter here, and I really liked that, so I then switched my major over to studio, and that's how I'm here now.
Amazing. And how did your family feel about that?
I think they were a little shocked at first, which I guess makes sense. They were worried about job stability, but right now I think they're a little more good with it, I guess. Yeah, I think they're like that I'm exploring who I am more.
Yeah, so along those lines, tell us a little bit about what you're working on. What are you exploring in your art practice?
Right now I am working with sashiko stitching and mending, and so I'm making a koinobori right now, or like reimagining one, I suppose. And koinobori is from like a holiday in Japan called Children's Day. And I don't know, I feel like since I grew up mainly in the States, I couldn't experience that to like the fullest. So now, through making that, I'm kind of rethinking of how I guess I experienced my childhood outside of being in a Japanese culture mainly and in the States. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So how did you discover this traditional Japanese practice of sashiko mending techniques? And what does it represent in your work beyond the physical act of joining materials? Like, what does it mean to you?
So I found sashiko because I was trying to figure out like a different medium other than painting, where I could feel more in touch with my culture and So I went to like museums and a whole bunch of other places trying to find something that was more, I guess, physical that I could feel. And that's where I came across that. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
It was just, what does it represent in your work? Like,
Oh, okay.
does it have a kind of meaning?
Yeah, I think because mending and stitching, it's like so physical in a different way than like painting is that it helps me remember like the how difficult I guess it was growing up because I was so disconnected from my culture. It's like I'm literally stitching it into the fabric of my work. So I think that's how I think of it.
That's interesting. And you mentioned working with scrap materials and the concept of
Mottainai.
motanai, or avoiding waste. How does this philosophy influence your material choices and your broader approach to making art?
So mottainai translates to like what a waste. It's like an expression almost. And because of that, I guess I take it where I just don't want to waste anything, you know? So I go thrifting, I find these materials, and they all have like their own histories outside of like me getting them. And I like to incorporate that, like their own history with my history. And that's why I like mottainai, that like philosophy so much.
Interesting. And then you also describe translating hazy childhood memories into patterns and colors. Could you talk to us about how you transform memories into visual elements?
Oh, yes. Memory-wise, my memory is actually not that great. So I sort of have to simplify things into like different patterns or like make it blurry because I can't remember it very clearly. But like I remember that I was there, you know? So it's more of a feeling rather than like seeing something in my head. So I guess that's why so many of my things are like with memory or so blurry, I guess, in a way.
Is that why you think one of the reasons why your work hovers between sort of figuration and abstraction?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Because of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you talked about your koi piece that you're working on now. Is this the first piece where you've made something that is off the wall?
In an upper division course, yes. I think actually my first class was like Viz 3, and so we made a few sculpture elements or works there. But yes, this is like my first time that I've actually like taking so much time trying to like make something that was off the wall.
That's going to be exciting to see in the Camille Gallery for your honors end of the year show coming up. Do we have any questions from our audience?
Hello. I had a question regarding your textiles. So you mentioned that you source like your materials through thrifting. This is just like a future question, like kind of like a future, for future you. Would you ever consider having like textile, not only textile materials, but just like any other materials, like straight from like Japan, if you were to ever visit your home country?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, the only reason I haven't now is because one, it's really expensive to go there right now, and it's also really expensive to like get anything shipped from over there right now, unfortunately. But yeah, future, I do want to go back and get some textiles and stuff.
What are the resources that you're using to acquire materials now? Is it mostly
No, it's mostly thrifting.
thrifting?
Mhm.
Do you get stuff on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, or more?
No, I like to go physically to the thrift store because I like to touch the material, especially since Sashiko stitching, It's mainly used with like non-stretch materials, and I don't know, you kind of have to feel it, the material to actually see if it's stretchy or not, and it's really hard to find those online.
It's amazing, how different people do their research, and everybody's kind of like on the hunt for subject matter or material, and so it's really very tangible that you go and have to touch it and feel it in order for it to kind of make it into your work. It's really interesting. So art careers can be challenging in the world today with AI and economic shifts and evolving social media landscapes. I'm just curious, especially as someone who started as a comp sci major, what drives you to create art, even with the uncertainties of the future? And how do you see your work responding to the moment we're living in?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like since everything is like AI or technology based, that's I think why I'm so like driven to like make something that I could physically feel and physically like work through. That like something like AI, it's like not alive in a sense, but like things that people make are so much more like lively, and you can feel like, I don't know, like a sense of their soul in the work, and I feel like that's really nice.
It's really important. It remains important. What advice would you give a freshman or sophomore just starting out in the Viz Arts department at UCSD? Any special tips for navigating classes, professors, or resources you wish someone had told you earlier?
Oh, yes. Talk to your professors. Everyone's been saying this, but you really need to talk to them. And also just talk with your peers. Like, you learn so much just from like casual conversations that you have with people, and it's so insightful. It's like even outside of like the art world or anything like that, and any places, I would just say explore UCSD. We have a lot of different things that I had no idea about, like this book making and stuff. That's so cool, and I only found out about it like this year. It's kind of crazy.
It is exciting, and it's there's just always new things and always so many sort of untapped resources. We may not have certain things, but we have a lot of other things. So here you are about to graduate in a couple weeks. What challenges do you anticipate in the transition from student to professional artist? How are you preparing for this shift in terms of possible studio space, finding ways to support your practice, and what are your plans for the future?
So I would say right now I'm just gonna try working from home, making smaller pieces just to like stay in touch with my practice. Right now I am working a part-time job trying to like support my artistic practice, but I want to say within like a year I do want to like move out, because I live on base right now, so it's pretty limiting, I guess, in what we can do. So I want to move out, find my own place, and I guess just keep working. And I do want to go to grad school. I don't know, maybe in like a couple years or something. Just give myself enough time to like actually develop, I guess, more as an artist.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think all the things that you're saying are really important to do in the next couple of years. And the idea of grad school is great because it kind of gives you the next sort of goal, And also just obviously staying in close contact with your peers and community is really important as well. So thank you, Julia, for this thoughtful conversation today. I've been thinking about your work and how you've woven together this kind of physical acts of mending with the metaphorical process of connecting fragmented cultural experiences and memories. It's really interesting. By combining traditional Japanese techniques with your personal narrative, you've created art that not only explores your own identity, but also offers connections to anyone who has felt caught between cultures and places. Your work is very inviting to viewers, both physically and visually, and describes complex, personal, and universal emotions. So thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us for this episode of Introducing New Artists, Conversations with Visual Arts Majors at UCSD. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye,
Julia.